to the webinar. Hello. Welcome to American TESOL Presents Free Friday Webinars. I'm your host, Shelly Sanchez-Terrell, and this is Roscoe, the mascot, who will be leaving soon because he gets a little frisky. We're here every Friday, no matter what side of the country we're in, and usually we're in different parts of the country. So today we're coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, and well, we may be in Nebraska next week, so we'll come from you there. Today we're going to talk about superheroes, and it's a great way to motivate your students by teaching with superheroes as the topic or the theme. I like today's webinar because today's webinar, there you'll see a lot of fun pictures that I got from Flickr. So I'll give you all the links, so that way you can you'll have all the links that are mentioned in the presentation. You also get a free certificate from American TESOL if you go to the bit.ly address. So I'll go ahead and post that inside the chat box. There you go, and just go under certificates and you'll find it. There's a great quote from Spider-Man 2, because I usually share a quote with you in every single one of the webinars. It says, I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride. So today's presentation aren't only teaching activities, because we will see different activities that deal with superheroes, but they also deal with empowering students. So they're a lot of fun, and the great thing is, but when you learn about superheroes, students are motivated to learn. They don't see it as learning, but they can identify with the hero. I truly believe that every single student, every person in the world can find a superhero that they identify with, and that really empowers them. When they read the story of the superhero, they see what's good in them. So these activities will also inspire your students to be very creative and imaginative, as well as are being a lot of fun. So we'll go ahead and take a look at these different activities. There's a lot of the activities that you can do for kids. So if you're teaching English to children, then this is a great way to get them motivated to learn. So one of the things you can do is host a superhero party or a day, and I've done this with my students. I love the pictures that are in this, by the way, and I got them all from Flickr. And so they can dress up, of course, as their favorite superhero, but they can also do presentations where each one demonstrates a power that they have as a superhero. So if you have more than one student dressed up as the same superhero, like Superman or Batman or something, then what you can do is each of them just demonstrates one power. So they can say something like, I can fly, I can run, I can jump. So they practice modules, that kind of language, that English, I can. Or they can also demonstrate with verbs. You can do things like you can cut up the different types of actions and put them in little cards. Have each of your students fill out a little card, and like an index card or just little bits of paper, and then you can collect them. And you can have them draw a picture if they're just barely beginning to learn English. And you can play charades that day. So you can have a charades where they demonstrate what power their superhero has. They can also tell a weakness that they have, because superheroes don't only have powers, but they also have a weakness, which makes it a very human thing too, as well. They can tell why that particular superhero, they identify with them, or why it's their favorite superhero. And then you can play different games as well. You can also play a game where they put the card on their head, and it says different things. Like, for example, maybe Superman, and maybe it says Batman, things like that. And what you can do is you can have the students answer questions about it, like yes or no questions. So the student, to guess what superhero they are, because you mix them up, they can say, can I fly? Do I like kryptonite? Or do I not like kryptonite? Can I, do I wear a black bat suit? And so the answers, yes or no, will say whether or not that gives them clues about the superhero. So they practice that language of asking questions, yes and no questions. And then, of course, having music in the background, which is from different types of superheroes. So you can have soundtracks from different playing in the background, which you can collect on Spotify, or you can collect it on Pandora, or any of those types of stations that are online that allow you to put music in a list. Groove Shark, all great places to add different music from superhero movies. Iron Man, Batman, Superman, Captain America. I mean, there's so many superhero movies out there that you can get a collection from. And then you can serve treats as well. You can always make gummy, instead of making gummy, like making gingerbread men, you can make gingerbread heroes. Um, you just put them in the shape of different superheroes. You can put little, you can usually go to the store and find very, very cheap. You can find a little types of napkins and things like that. Usually at the dollar store, I'll be able to find napkins and stuff with the superhero logo and stuff. So these are all things you can do for a superhero day or a superhero party that you host. This is great for children too. So if you don't necessarily teach children, you can always do these activities with your own children. They will love having a superhero day. You can also read superhero stories. Now, my favorite superhero stories that my students used to love, because I was teaching young learners in Germany. I would teach from 2 years old to 10-year-olds in Germany. And the one we would always read for superhero day is You Can Do Anything, Daddy. Now, I am a huge Michael Rex fan. I love all his books. So if you can find that book in the library, then you can check that out, and then you can read that to the students. It's got a lot of language that you can practice, and it's still with that phrase where they're practicing I can. So it's really good to emphasize that kind of structure when you're teaching with superheroes for young children. So it's a great book. It's about a father, and in the US, Father's Day is coming up pretty soon. So if you have a superhero day pretty soon, well, this one's a great book to read for Father's Day anyway, because the it's about a dad who rescues his son from pirates and all of these things. So they can learn different types of vocabulary or words associated to heroes, such as rescue. And then you can have them also, when they're reading a book, you can always have activities where they reconstruct with the characters. At the end, they can retell the story of what happened. There's also Superhero School, which is a good book, and then there's Superhero Max as well. So any of those superhero books are good to read for young learners, for kids. The British Council has some really great ideas out there when it comes to superheroes. They have a lot of things that you can work with, and I've used it in the past. So I definitely think that superheroes, the BBC, the British Council type, is really, really good. So I'll share a couple of those with you. Now, any of the links that we have today, you don't have to worry about copying all the links, because you can find all of these links. They're already bookmarked, and they're superheroes. If you go to the bit.ly address, you can find them there. Or you can go to this address, and this Pearl Tree is all the bookmarks in this presentation, including this one. So Super High is an entire type of lesson plan that you can use for a day or even two. You can extend this for quite a while, so you can teach about superheroes more than one day. When you're reading this, it's an interactive story. It has script. It also has where your students listen to the story being read. It also has animation, and in the middle, it sometimes has different things the students can choose. Now, it's a great, great, great story that students really get into. You see a part where there's a little girl that like it's this new kid that goes to a superhero high, and it shows like different types of lessons that they have to take. So, for example, changing into a costume or in a photo booth is, I think, one of the ideas in this story. But what you can do as a follow-up activities, you can say, if you went to a superhero high school, what kind of classes do you think should a superhero have to take at a superhero high, so they can invent their own class for superheroes? Such as, maybe they'll say something like they have to take taekwondo or martial arts, or maybe they have to take um, telepathy lessons or psychic lessons. So there's a lot of things that your students can come up with and be creative. They have their own types of handouts. So if you join the Learn English website, you'll be able to print all of these free activities, worksheets, handouts, and they're very good handouts that are very interactive to go with the story. There's also a superhero song from this. Let me see if I can actually find this song. So let's see if we can find this song, and that way I can play part of it for you. There's another song out there by Genki English that I usually use. Okay, so maybe you can hear some of it. It might be choppy. Faster than a train. She can spin around and make it rain. Okay, so you heard some of it. It says he can run faster than a train. She can spin around and make it rain. And it shows the action, so it shows the spinning and the running. But you notice once again that you're practicing the language. Can, I can, she can, he can. So that's the superhero song. This is my favorite superhero song that I use to my students. This is from Genki English. Now, not all of Genki English stuff is free, but this particular one is, and it has little action pictures that go with it. So when you click on these, when you go to this website, and when you click on it, you can click and it'll say it for you, and there are different drawings as well. Now, if you do have the Genki English unit, which I have, then you can go ahead and you can print out a lot of the different games and stuff that go along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and play some of it for you.
Genki Man! I'm a superhero! 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 I can jump! I can jump! I can run! I can run!
And it has fun flashcards that go with it too. I think it's a livelier song. That's why I particularly like it. And it has a great animation. It's this Genki man here who's flying like this. And so the kids like it a lot. So one of the activities or lesson ideas that I do with the students is I allow them to bring in their stuffed animals or their Barbies or their different types of toys, and then their toys become superheroes. So the kids bring in the toys and they pretend that one of them is a superhero. It's usually their favorite toy that they choose to be a superhero, and then they can repeat the phrase, so with the toy, they actually grab the toy and then they repeat, I'm a superhero, I can. Let's see, I'll do this with Roscoe's. I think Roscoe has something here. Oh, Roscoe has his elephant. Okay, so if they had this was their toy, they would pretend, they would say, okay, this is my elephant Charlie, and he is really Superman. and then they pretend. So they would put the stuffed animal and say, I'm a superhero, I can fly, and then they make the stuffed animal fly, or they make their G.I. Joe or the little figurine fly. So they can do that. Yeah, Faisal, you can use a frog puppet. Any kind of puppet would do as well. That's a good substitute as well. But the idea is for each student to have each of them have a toy, and you can get in a circle and you can sit down, and each of them to repeat, I'm a superhero. So you may want to repeat at the beginning, and where you have them all repeat after you. So you may be the one who has yours, and you say, this is Charlie the elephant. He's Superman. He's like Superman. That's his favorite superhero. So I am a superhero. I can jump. I can climb buildings. And then after they repeat after you and they show you with their stuffed animal what they can do, then each one of them goes and takes a turn, and then they complete an action. They can do different things. Then you can have them work in pairs, and then when they work in pairs, they share their toys, and then they pretend that their toy is saving another toy. So at the beginning, one of them has their stuffed animal that is superhero, and then the other one does. And then they can even get together and they can pretend to be a group of superheroes um, rescuing one of the other animals. So you're letting them play, but this is play that has conversation. This works really well for very young learners as well. Now, if you have teenagers or even adults or even university students, you can't even do things as superheroes for them, because superheroes, they can read the comic, so they can do different things. Like you can see a lot of graphic novels these days based on superheroes. They can read one with the Avengers. Batman has an incredible graphic novels that they've used. It's called the Dark Knight series. In the past, it's black and white. It's really, really nice, and it's a great way for students to see that. And then so some of the things that you can do is you can have them invent an app for superheroes. So you can say, nowadays superheroes are modern. So tell them to pick a superhero, their favorite one. Spider-Man, Captain America, Thor, Batman, whichever superhero they want. They can pick any of them. It doesn't even have to be anything in this set. And what they have to do, and a lot of times they read comics and stuff on their own. There's so many superheroes now that are there. They may pick Pikachu or some character like that. So anything they see as a superhero. And then they get to invent an app for that superhero. So they give you a list of powers, and then with those powers, they make it into an app. And then they can create a video that shows what this superhero app does. Okay, this is for example, if there was Superman, I'll go back to Superman again, which is actually, to be technical, not your typical superhero is what I've heard, but oh well, we'll use him as an example. So what we have is, I'll say, he has this photo booth app, so he no longer has to go to a photo booth. He just presses on the app, and all of a sudden it changes him into Superman. Or it's a nice reporter app, because Superman was the reporter, so he can take pictures with it. He can fly with it, whatever. But Batman may need a few different apps than Superman, and then they present their apps to the class. So it's a fun activity, gets them thinking and stuff as well. They can invent and create superhero gear. So you can actually have them be hands-on, very creative. They can create spy glasses. They can create a cape that does different things, makes them fly, makes them invisible. It depends what they want their cloak to do. And then what you can do is just have a crafts day where they demonstrate what it does. It's like a prototype. They're making a prototype of the superhero gear. They can invent a new superhero to solve a real world problem. So I have the students first brainstorm. We do concept map together of different things that they face. So when I've done this in the past, I've worked with teenagers, and when they said things like turning in homework, or for example, they need to drive places, get one place to the other. So that may be something that they need a superhero to do. Bullying. So they solve a real world problem that they have. And what they do is they invent a superhero to solve that problem. Homework help man, or drive me to school man or woman. So they can invent a hero to deal with that particular problem. You can put large pieces of paper on the ground and they can draw themselves, or they can draw each other. They can work in pairs. And then they can, write different things that the hero does, and they can write a story. There are different types of hero animators out there, generators. The BBC, the British Council has one that I think is really, really good, which is this one, and it's Make a Superhero. Now, I've done this, I was doing training in Brazil, and I did this in Brazil, and they really, really enjoyed this. We did this as a class with one computer. So basically, each of them, we went ahead and I asked them, I said, okay, so what do you want to choose? So each person chose something. The good thing is when you use this, it says the language. So you learn, obviously here, a language with the body parts. You learn about different types of dress styles, action words, x-ray glasses. So they get to choose, and it gives them a description of what each of these does. So it's really made for language learners. After they make a superhero or create the superhero on the generator, and I'll show you different generators as well, you can have students create stories with their superhero. So then they have to go and they have to write a story. I'll show you a great place to write that particular story where they can do this. So you can use any of these generators. You can take them for a day in the computer lab, or if you want, you can have them pair up and they can work on the computer lab to do this. So this is one. This is the Marvel one. So Marvel is the creator of different comics. Marvel Comics, you may have heard of them. So you can use the Marvel free site one, and that one has them make a superhero as well. There's a create a superhero app for all devices. Now, you can use this on a Chrome tablet. You can use this on Android. You can use this on a smartphone. And then you can also use this on your iPad. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on my iPad, if I can find it. And this is from the Parody Network, so you just have to look it up. But here is the app, the superhero app. And it asks you, it says, it starts off with a little notice, and it says, help, help, help. The world is in chaos and needs a new superhero to restore order and peace. Make your own superhero and save the world. The great thing about this particular app, there's a lot of apps out there to do this, but it has, as you can see, a male and female version, which is very important because we want to make sure that our students know that, it's not a gender thing. They can pick female superheroes. So here they learn different words as well. You can already see a language that they're learning there. They have skin, hair, suits, gloves, socks, shoes. So it's really great to practice all of this language. So when we're doing this, you get to go to skin. So I can make the skin a different color. So I can make it look like me. So ethnicity wise, your students can choose different skin color. The gloves, I can change that. So anything that I tap, it'll do. Now you can do it to where it plays a sound. And then so it does different things as well. It's a touch thing, so it's very easy for students to use. There's the Supreme Superheroes app for all devices. This is where you can create your own superhero. It evolves your abilities and things like that. So it's on Android, iPad, all of these. There's Make Me a Superhero from Android. Now, this is an okay app, but it only has male superheroes, so that's kind of a downside. All of these are free, of course. Now, to create their superhero story, so after they have made their superhero and they've already told you what kind of real world problem that it solves, then one of the things you can do is you can have them go to littlebirdtales.com, and at littlebirdtales.com they can upload their drawings and their pictures, and they can add their voice, and they can type in words and make their own book about their superhero. So their superhero can really come out in this. They can even draw on littlebirdtales.com. So it's a great way to have an online book of the superhero they just created. They just need a picture of it, or they can even draw it. So littlebirdtales.com is a great way for them to create the stories. They can upload their pics or choose from a variety of characters and backgrounds, or draw on the pages themselves. They narrate with text and audio. It is embeddable, and there is an app. Now the app is paid, so but the tool, the web tool, if you go on the computer and use it, it's absolutely free. So there are a bunch of really cool superhero apps and web tools. I love the pictures I found. I found all of these on Flickr, by the way, and I have bookmarked them in the Pearl Trees address. So if you want those, you can check them out later. The Marvel Comics is a great app. You can read about the different superheroes. So if you want your students, your adult students, your college students, your high school students, or those with very advanced language skills, you can use this as your next book or your next reading. Now there's a lot of readers out there. If you look at the different readers by your particular publishing company that you use with the school, then you can find superhero stories within those as well. And then Marvel, if you just type in Marvel when you're looking on the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store and you're looking up apps, Marvel has a whole slew of apps. They have tons of apps. You can even go to marvel.com and you can see all of the apps they offer on the different devices. And they're really great apps that have to do with different types of superheroes. So there's this is one of a hero's game card, so it does involve language, and it's simple to use. So what you do is when you start playing this game, then your students, they begin to battle two cards. So they can put two superheroes up against each other. Now they read on the card what a trading card just lists the different kinds of strengths and stuff like that. So it's a good game because it chunks language and it's very easy to read and stuff like that. There is, of course, a superhero of grammar. He is Grammar Man, and Grammar Man is actually a great comic. It was developed for learning English, learning grammar. It has little funny videos and a comic to go with it. So there's Grammar Man. This is what the comic looks like. He's a different kind of superhero, but nevertheless a superhero. It chunks the language, so it's great for various language learners. Even adults enjoy Grammar Man. And he comes with a whole bunch of videos. His friend Syntax, an alien visitor from a distant galaxy. There's Comic Master. Comic Master is a great web tool, so you can create your own comic after you go ahead and your students invent a hero. They can go and they can create a comic about it. So Comic Master is a generator. It looks like this. It makes it into a book, and it gives you different options. So it puts it in rows like this. You can do a lot of things. You can even save it. So you can save it and you can share it with your friends. They can share it with their parents. There's create your own comic from the superhero squad show. So these have different superheroes as well, and you can create a comic. And then Kerpoof. Kerpoof is a great website. You can make videos. You can make animation. It also has comics as well. But not only does it have comics, it has a whole bunch of other things that you can do. You can create books. You can create a whole bunch of things. Now, the great thing about Kerpoof is when you use it, you can choose which template you want. So if it's a superhero that rescues aliens, then you're going to want to do an alien story. Maybe it's a fantasy type of one. So a Kerpoof, you can make a movie, you can make a card, a drawing, tell a story. It's up to you what your students want to do, and it depends what they want to do as well. The Zoodle Comic App, this is for iPad and iOS, but it's the best free comic app that I have seen out there to use with the iPad. It's very easy to use, framework. It has a bunch of superhero figures that you can choose from as well. And then you can make a video with GoAnimate.com. They have a bunch of characters that you can choose from that look like superheroes. So once you choose your superhero characters, see here's a female one, here's a male one, then you create the dialogue your students do. So they can type in the dialogue or they can record their voice saying it. They can do it in different accents. So they have accents from all over the world to speak the English. So whatever they type, it's text to speech. Or like I said, they can go ahead and they can do the voice as well. They also get to choose the emotion. So they have a dialogue that they're